Now from WATN, it's Local 24 This Week with Richard Ransom.
Welcome to Local 24 This Week. I'm your host, Otis Sanford, in for Richard Ransom. And we're here every Sunday to give you a front row seat to the real story behind the big stories. I'll introduce my panel later, but here is what's on our plate for this week. Sales tax fight. Memphis voters on October 3rd approved an increase in the city's sales tax by a half cent. But there remains a question over whether county government can lay claim to half the money. We'll try to sort all that out. Plus, we'll do a deep dive into Mayor Jim Strickland's impressive re-election win by looking at the results from across the city. Then, building boom. There was big news this past week, involving a facelift for a portion of downtown with the purchase of the old Memphis police station by the Lowe's Hotel Group, and the long-awaited plans to redevelop the Memphis Fairgrounds are ready to be presented to the Land Use Control Board. And we'll get to all of that later, but first, I want to introduce Shelby County Commissioner Van Turner, who is here for a one-on-one. Van, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Otis.
And thank you for coming in.
Yes, sir.
We have a lot to talk about involving the county commission, but first I want to revisit the city election, October 3rd.
Yes, sir.
You were a very vocal and really one of the very first vocal supporters of Jim Strickland's re-election.
That's right.
So obviously you're probably pleased with the way the election turned out.
Yes.
Tell us and tell our viewers basically what was behind such strong support for Jim Strickland.
Well, I think, as I stated before, he ran on his record, and he had a good record. I think his motto at the beginning was brilliant at the basics. And so paving roads, taking care of the core essential things which a city government has to take care of, was what he hung his hat on. And he was very effective at getting the job done the last 4 years. And the voters of the city thought that he did so well that they put him back in with 62% of the vote.
Okay. But obviously, you sit on the county commission with Tammy Sawyer,
right,
who was a candidate in this race. And I guess I have to ask, was there any friction or has there been any tension with you being such a vocal Strickland supporter between you and Tammy Sawyer?
No, there wasn't. I mean, when I first came out for the mayor, we sat down and we talked it out, and I think it showed really a level of maturity for everyone that we could agree to disagree. I knew she was running, and she was my colleague, so we needed each other on the commission, but when it came to her running against Mayor Strickland, we would disagree on that, and she knew where I was and I knew where she was. And so we left it at that. Someone early on in politics, when I first got into politics, told me you have to separate your personal life from your political life, from your professional life. And so as long as you can keep all three of those things separate, you can, make it through without taking things personally, getting bent out of shape just because people don't agree with you all the time.
Okay, so I assume there's no hard feelings now that the election is over?
No.
Okay.
I think we're okay.
What about Dr. Harrington? He served this community for a long time. I'm sure you're aware of him, going all the way back to your days probably as a high school student at Whitehaven High.
Yes, absolutely.
What were your thoughts about him in this race?
I think that it was something that he probably needed to do. I mean, in my mind, I felt as if he was offering himself for service one last time to see what the voters wanted. And I think I like what you had to say at one point. It was a thank you, Doc. Dr. Harrington, Mayor Harrington, we appreciate all your years of service as a superintendent and as mayor of the city. And I think we want to move in a different direction now, but that does not in any way destroy or take away from your great legacy here in this city. And so the voters decided to go with what they knew, with what was effective, and I think it was just a thank you to Dr. Harrington. He got a respectable amount of the vote.
Okay.
And I think the voters were just saying it's time for the city to move on, but thank you, Doc, for your great legacy of service.
Okay. I need to move on to some county commission issues, but let me ask you one other quick question about that. Jim Strickland is term limited. There's been talk that a Van Turner candidacy for Memphis mayor could happen in 2023. You want to make some news today on that?
Not today. I have not ruled it out. Certainly I'm interested in the mayor the mayor's position 4 years from now, but we'll have to do a lot of work leading up to that point.
Let's move on to, let's talk about, first of all, the county sales tax referendum. There's been some talk with your colleagues on the county commission, Edmund Ford Jr. and Mark Billingsley, about the county getting its fair share of this increase now that the voters have approved it. What is your position on that?
Yeah, I mean, the voters spoke to the issue. I know you're aware of the fact that when the pre-K referendum was presented to the voters, they said no. This referendum was presented to the voters and they said yes. So at base, the will of the citizens who voted should be respected. And this wasn't a simple situation where the city council voted to put the referendum on the ballot. The petitioners had to go get the signatures, the requisite amount, then it had to be placed to the voters, and then the voters had to vote it in. That's the democracy at its best, and I think that the vote of the citizens of Memphis should be respected, and if we do involve ourselves in any way, it has to be for a very great purpose. It has to be for something that is overall good for this county. I'm told that if we were to get involved and attempt to look at some of these funds, it would be for educating our youth. But here again, I would be very hesitant to do something which would take away the will of the people. They've spoken to the issue.
Well, and there's also the issue of, the suburban cities approved sales tax increases, and there was no discussion about the county going after this fair share there. That, to me, seems to be a little bit unfair to the Memphis voters if there was even any discussion about this. What do you think?
Yeah, and, if we were to max out our sales tax, it would affect even the suburban cities who maxed out their sales taxes for their school systems. So if the county does it, we would take from everybody, all 7 cities within the county, which would, to some degree, affect everyone. And so, you have to tread lightly with that issue. I believe the voters have spoken, and I think the county should respect what the voters in the 7 municipal governments want. And I respect Commissioner Ford, and so should we look into it? Yes, because it's for the benefit of our youth, and we're always looking for money to fund education. But I don't think we should mess with anything that would hurt what the citizens have asked to do.
Before I let you go, can you give us an update on the status of those Confederate monuments? Of course, our viewers know that you were part of the Memphis Green Space that bought the parks and took those monuments down. Where are those monuments and what's the update there? And we only have about 30 seconds for this.
The litigation is hopefully coming to an end, and I think we will be able to share with everyone what takes place next. But right now we're sort of have to be very careful with the litigation taking place. But the monuments are still in the care of Memphis Green Space. We don't want these monuments within Shelby County, so we're working out a situation where that will happen, where they will be out of Shelby County, and we're working on a situation where, the parks will again be refreshed and available for all the citizens of Shelby County to enjoy. And so that means we're going to have additional programming and additional activities coming to both of the parks.
Okay, all right, fair enough. This is County Commissioner Van Turner. Thank you for coming in today. Appreciate it. We'll take a break, and when we come back, I'll introduce our panel, and we have some more discussion on Local 24 this week.
Get your gun now and saddle up Penelope. It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Buick GMC. Old-time trading prices on over 700 new Buicks and GMC trucks. And the Sunrise Used Car Corral has over 150 in stock. Ranch managers have been told to cut prices to the bone. And remember, you can bring your car to Sunrise Service no matter where you bought it. If you're a good person with bad credit, SunriseMemphis.com will help put your brand on one of these little fillies. Free hot dogs and Cokes at the Chuck Wagon. Western Trading Days going on now at all 3 Sunrise locations. We make it fun to buy a car again.
Let's get down to business. The business of Atlanta on Monday, Cincinnati on Tuesday, Philly on Wednesday, and Thursday, back to Cincinnati. Modernized Comfort Inns and Suites have been refreshed because when your business keeps going, our business is you. Get the lowest price guaranteed on all Choice Hotels when you book direct at choicehotels.com.
I'm Local 24 meteorologist Chelsea Chandler. Before you get your kids ready for school each day, make sure you catch my bus stop forecast so they're prepared throughout the day. It's weekdays on Good Day Memphis, 5 to 7.
The bus stop forecast on Good Day Memphis is brought to you by NST.
Real men wear pink. Join Local 24's Clayton Collier and CW30's Dustin Starr as they team up with the American Cancer Society in the fight against breast cancer. Donate by going to localmemphis.com/pink. Join the fight and donate because real men wear pink.
America's veterans are more than a source of pride. They're a source of strength. When our veterans thrive, our communities thrive. With your support, our veterans can get career and education opportunities as well as benefits they've earned.
Hello, I'm Congressman David Kustoff. Join me in thanking our nation's veterans. They've given so much in service to our country. Find out how you can support veterans in our community.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
You're watching Local 24 This Week with Richard Ransom.
Welcome back to Local 24 This Week. I'm Otis Sanford in for Richard Ransom, and I have a steamed panel here today. I have Sam Hardiman with the Commercial Appeal, political and government reporter, and we have our own Mike Matthews, reporter for Local 24. Gentlemen, let's start by talking about the sales tax referendum, because we can't get away from it, primarily because of what's going on over in the county. The county is still making noise about whether they should go after their fair share. The voters approved it, and there is a question about this. It's still being raised by Edmund Ford Jr. and even Mark Billingsley, the commission chair, was talking a little bit about it this week. Mike, you were over there quite a bit. What's going on here with this, and where do you think this is headed?
Well, the debate, first off, is why is it their fair share?
Okay.
If you look at the other communities in Shelby County that raised their sales taxes to pay for education, you never heard Shelby County government saying, hey, wait a minute, we want to get some of that money as well.
And they did it for schools back when they were forming their own school system.
That's right. Right. So in this situation, though, I think this is personal. I absolutely think this is personal. I think Ed Ford has never gotten along well with Tommy Malone or the city unions, for that matter, and that he is bringing this up. Mark Billingsley, I talked to this week, and he's talked with the city attorney and all that, and it's very clear, at least to some people, that you're going to have a vote in the unincorporated areas of Shelby County if you want to do this, and they have to vote to increase their own taxes. And when they do that, then the state gets the money and again brings it back to the county. Half of it goes to education, half of it goes to the county, the Memphis.
I got you.
So they figure they got to be fine anyway. So it's a complicated mess.
Right. Sam, weigh in on this, specifically from the standpoint of, I haven't heard a lot of talk from city council members because they weren't involved in the referendum. But where do you see this standing right now?
Well, where I see it standing is it's unclear. Catherine Burgess, our county government reporter, has reported on this some as well. And it's unclear whether or not the legislation would clear the county commission at this point to put it to a vote to unincorporated Shelby County. But what you have now is Memphis is the largest municipality in Shelby County. That's obvious. Right. And so for a long time, Shelby County has had a lower sales tax rate than the municipalities. So that money that Mike was just talking about, there's an extra 0.5% of the sales tax that goes off the top to the municipalities that Shelby County does not touch. And so in this case, if Shelby County were to vote to increase its sales tax rate to 9.75%, then all of a sudden Germantown's losing money, Collierville's losing money, etc. So this is a whole bowl of wax that the sales tax referendum has uncorked. Yeah. And simply seeking benefits to be restored to pre-2015 levels.
Do you think that the voters really didn't clearly understand all the ramifications of this vote when they went to the polls and approved this?
No, I think they made their vote, their opinion. The 53% that voted in favor of it made their opinions known by saying they supported public police and fire, and that's why they voted the way they did. I don't think, and there was no one that at the time brought it up that this is going to be something that they're going to have to look at. Ed Ford and Kim Conrad finally did near the end of the campaign bring up the issues,
but that was kind of late in the campaign.
We reported on this and this possibility late in the campaign, but one article, and a couple editorials from Ed Ford and Kim Conrad, I don't think raised voter awareness very much with this, and so I don't think that the vagaries of state tax law, and I could be wrong, were on the mind of 53% of Memphians, were on the mind of the other 47%. I think this was more along their support and their belief that crime and public safety is the biggest issue in this community.
Okay, I got you. Let's move on to another issue related to the October 3rd election, and that was just how impressive Jim Strickland's re-election was. We've done some deep dives into just how he sort of swept across the city, precinct by precinct almost. I think we have a map that we can show that was actually put together by, I think, Don Johnson. And it shows there that kind of a lighter blue is, well, pretty much all of the sort of darker colors. That's Jim Strickland winning those precinct by precinct. That sort of orange down at the bottom, that's sort of Westwood going into South Memphis. That's where Dr. Willie Harrington won. Sam, I want to come to you because even the numbers show that Jim Strickland won 97 out of the 119 precincts. And the projection is now that he will probably end up with about 52 to 54% of the African-American vote, which would be unprecedented. You have to go all the way back to the 60s to get that for a winning white candidate. How do you assess just how well he did?
So I think it just shows that that campaign executed their strategy. Right? They hit the airwaves with a ton of ads. They hit radio, African-American-centric radio with a ton of ads. You know, there's the notable one of Elmore Nickelberry that you've written about, the sanitation worker that you've written about. And then if you look at just the way he spent the final weeks of the campaign, during early voting and the week before Election Day, he was on corners in Whitehaven. Right. Like, he was waving signs at 7 a.m. during rush hour. Like, he courted that community. And he sought to be a unifying figure, and it played out for him. And that's I think, where that came from.
Mike, you've been covering politics in the city for a long time. Probably not as long as I have, but you've been covering it a long time. How do you assess just how well Jim Strickland did across the board?
He outworked everybody, I think. As Sam was saying, you saw this guy in neighborhoods, knocking on doors, meeting voters one-on-one. That's a big deal. You know, years and years ago, I worked in South Carolina and talked with Strom Thurmond, the former U.S. Senator, and this guy was a legend and was, could win without even getting out of his office. But he ran every race like it was his first campaign. And Jim Strickland was out there in this election, like I say, going into neighborhoods, knocking on doors, appearing at virtually every event you could find. Plus, as Sam mentioned, he spent a lot of money. And he wasn't afraid to spend a lot of money. And some of those ads, the Elmore Nickelberry ad, powerful stuff.
We have 30 seconds left here, and I'm going to ask both of you this question. Jim Strickland has said this was his last race. But judging by just how well he did, is it conceivable that this will not be his last race? Is it conceivable that he may even run, I'm just throwing something out there, even for governor down the line?
Oh, I guess anything's conceivable, anything's possible, but I don't see that inside him, though.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I think so. Like, he's looked me in the eye and said that he's very skeptical that a moderate Democrat like him could win statewide. I don't think he would want to run a race and get beat or blown out, and I think he also has young children. Like, he wants to spend time with them, and at the end of 4 years, you know, he's going to be able to spend that time. But anything's possible, and politicians have changed their mind before.
So this is his last race, then?
Probably the last hurrah for him.
Yeah. All right.
I think so.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll take another break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about some new developments and redevelopments going on in the city of Memphis. You're watching Local 24 this week.
Cigna knows you're more than just a number. That's why Cigna Medicare Advantage treats you like a whole person, body and mind, for a cost that makes sense for you. Start enjoying more coverage for less. Call 1-855-738-0423. With Cigna, you get medical, dental, vision, and prescriptions in one plan. A team of doctors for your overall health, and healthy living programs to save you money. Plus, no monthly premium and only a $5 specialist copay. Medicare annual enrollment is now. Make sure you have the right plan for the right price. Call now to get your free Medicare Advantage guide and learn how to get a complete plan that fits your budget. Call 1-855-738-0423. That's 1-855-738-0423. or visit getcignamedicare.com. Cigna, together.
America's veterans are more than a source of pride. They're a source of strength. When our veterans thrive, our communities thrive. With your support, our veterans can get career and education opportunities as well as benefits they've earned.
I'm Senator Marsha Blackburn. Our veterans have given Tennessee so much, and it's time to do something for them. Find out how you can support them right in your community.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
If you've got a yard, you may plan on digging in it, like to build an addition, put in a pool, or bury your pirate booty. But you should know that throughout the country, there may be pipelines buried underground, and if you hit one, you've got trouble. Sorry. So before you dig, call 811 to have any buried pipelines located and marked at no charge.
Call your local natural gas utility or visit pipesafety.org. Brought to you by the Tennessee Gas Association.
You're watching Local 24 This Week with Richard Ransom.
Welcome back for our last segment here. And Sam, I want to start with you. We're going to talk a little bit about the downtown development that's going on. The Lowe's Hotel Group signing on the dotted line this week. You broke that story involving the new convention center hotel that's also going to take in the old Memphis police station. Tell our viewers a little bit about that and what happened this week.
And so what happened this week is something that's been probably baked in the cake for the past couple of months, but just kind of became public, is Lowe's finally signed, like Otis, you just said, on the dotted line with the city of Memphis. In the process, they revealed to me yesterday that they're going to buy the old Memphis police station headquarters downtown. They're going to preserve that front facade because that's on the State Register of Historic Places, viewers. But that is, you know, making a much more definite thing of the second convention center hotel in downtown Memphis, which is going to be 17 stories. It's going to change the city skyline. And this is looking, you know, nothing is a done deal until you actually see a crane in the sky or someone swiping their credit card, you know, to get a room. But this seems to be actually happening, and that represents for the Strickland administration the end of a lot of work, because this has been 2-3 years of work for them trying to get this hotel into downtown Memphis, and it also alleviates some blight in downtown.
Was there anything political in waiting to sign this after the election? I would think that to get some political mileage out of this, you would have done it before.
Given the timing of some of their other announcements throughout the summer, I would have assumed that it would have been done before. But Lowe's was in town yesterday for a land use control meeting. They got the requisite zoning approval they needed yesterday, and that's something that you probably need as a developer before you sign on the dotted line on a development agreement.
Mike, this is a game changer for downtown. It changes the face of the Civic Center Plaza, which my understanding is that the Civic Center Plaza would basically go away in a lot of respects. Talk about how much of a game changer this really is.
Well, the Civic Center Plaza should go away in some instances. You know, when we go over there and do live shots, as they say in television, when you're hooked up, ready to go live, people are not in the city in the Civic Plaza after the sun goes down. There's nobody there at all. Okay, that's one of the loneliest sections of downtown. You put a hotel like Lowe's over there, and you're going to have action. You're going to have constant people going in, going out. It will change everything, and I think for the better. Plus, as you said, you take that old Memphis Police Department, which is a beautiful old building. My gosh, it's, you know, it's like it matches the courthouse right around the corner from the old courthouse. You keep that integrated into the project. This changes a lot of things.
But the current convention center hotel has not been happy about this, right? Because the city is giving a lot of incentives to the Lowe's group that the other convention center didn't get. Talk a little bit about that.
Right. So absolutely, there has been a myriad of lawsuits filed, including from the owners of the downtown Sheridan, saying that this is an illegal subsidy of the Lowe's Hotel. The Lowe's Hotel is going to be able to essentially use the sales tax that you pay on your room, plus an extra fee to pay its mortgage. Mortgage is oversimplifying a little bit, but let's keep in mind that the downtown Sheridan, when it was built, received myriad incentives. It still has an exclusive contract. Contract with the city, and as the city was seeking a second convention center hotel, the owners of the downtown Sheraton engaged the city on expanding by 300 rooms.
Okay.
So while the downtown Sheraton has argued, their attorneys have argued in court that the downtown market is oversaturated and it won't be able to sustain this, time will tell if that's the case. They were at one point interested in expanding, so the market can't be maybe as bad as they say it is.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Mike, let me quickly go a little bit further east there to the fairgrounds. Because there was an announcement also this past week that the city is ready to take the fairgrounds redevelopment plan to the Land Use Control Board. That's been kicking around for a long time.
Yeah, an awfully long time.
We got about a minute left. That seems about ready to be baked, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've said that before.
Yeah, we have.
We've said that many times before. Over the many plans that we've had.
And many mayors before, right?
Yeah, precisely. So, I mean, I'll wait till I see it before I say, okay, here we go. Okay. You got to do something with that property. There's not property like that much left in the city of Memphis, but it's out there and ready to go. Right. So, yeah, to watch and see what they plan on doing, I think that's a good deal.
Right. Sam, you've got about 20 seconds here. What do you think about the fairgrounds?
The fairgrounds development, I mean, it's another TDZ development, another the boring word, tourism development zone. Yeah. But it could be a change. It could change the gateway to Cooper Young, the gateway to Orange Mound. That could really build infill between those places and can really become a main driver of tourism dollars for the city if you can get AAU basketball, volleyball tournaments at the sports facility that the city plans to build there.
Right. Well, it does seem that this administration does have a little bit of momentum going, especially when it relates to these things. That's what he said. All right, we'll take another break, and we'll be back with closing thoughts in a minute.
To the outside world, you look good, but you don't feel good. With polycythemia vera, PV, symptoms can change so slowly over time, you might not notice. But new or changing symptoms can mean your PV is changing. Let's change the way we see PV. You track and discuss blood counts with your doctor, but it's just as vital to discuss changing symptoms as well. Take notice and take action. Discuss counts and symptoms with your doctor. Visit takeactionpv.com.
Hey, Dad. I'm here. I'm right here.
He's right here. Let's go.
Being here matters. That's why Blue Cross Blue Shield has thousands of people right here in Tennessee serving millions of members.
And if you need anything else, we'll be right here.
So when it matters, wherever you go, we'll always be right here.
Small businesses drive our nation's economy, employing about half of the country's private sector workforce.
Here's coffee.
Thanks so much.
When you shop at local small businesses, you help the entire community thrive.
Hello, I'm Congressman David Kustoff. Small businesses unite our community and they bolster our local economy. Shop local and help spur innovation and job creation in West Tennessee.
Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
And that's all the time we have for today's show. I want to thank Sam Hardiman from the Commercial Appeal and our own Mike Matthews. Thank you for being here. Great discussion today. A lot of things going on in this city. And we want to thank you for joining us. And please join us next week for Local 24 This Week.
Greater